Hey guys, Dinosaur here. Today I'm going to be teaching you how to play Magnet Warriors, and I want to start this off with just a quick disclaimer that this is from my experience with the deck and how I've built my decks. Yours may differ just a little bit, but these are going to be your main combos, especially for the people who are new to playing Magnet Warriors. For the purposes of this video, this is the deck list that we're going to be featuring. All of the combos in this video are from exactly this deck list. Feel free to pause here and build it up if you'd like. Let's say that you have 4 hand traps and Conduction Warrior Linear Magnum plus minus, and you are going first. You'll start by summoning plus minus by sending Beta and Sigma minus to the graveyard. Beta is then going to summon off of Sigma minus and search you, or Sigma plus, and then search you Sigma minus. Sigma minus you're going to use to fusion summon using plus minus on your field and itself from hand to make Conduction Warrior Plasma Magnum. Plasma Magnum will find you Magnet Bonding. Magnet Bonding is then going to search you Epsilon the Magnet Warrior. You're going to send Tilicion from your deck to the graveyard in order to use Plasma Magnum's effect to additionally normal. Epsilon effect on normal summon. You'll send Magnet Warrior Omega Plus to the graveyard, and we'll reborn Sigma Minus. Sigma Minus will send Valkyrion from your deck. Now this is just unbricking your deck. You have less chance of drawing a level 8 on your follow-up turn. You will then use Sigma Minus and Epsilon to make a Gallant Granite. Gallant Granite effect is then going to find you an Adamancipator Researcher. Make sure that you detach Sigma Minus here, just for optimal playline, though it doesn't necessarily matter. You'll use Adamancipator Researcher in hand to summon. You'll activate its effect, and let's say that you just hit something we haven't used yet, like a Sigma Minus. Just another monster on board is all you want for this combo anyways. You will then turn these into Naturia Beast, and then you will use Sigma Minus and Gallant Granite to link into an IP Masquerena, and then you will summon Tilicion from Grave. And now I've found the most fortified way of building this combo is IP Masquerena pointing to both Naturia Beast and Plasma Magnum, with Tilicion in the middle of those two. Real quick post-combo Dana here, just if, for whatever reason, Adamancipator Researcher does not hit a monster, instead of linking into IP Masquerena here with said monster and Gallant Granite, what you can do is use Omega Plus from your graveyard, destroy Gallant Granite, and then end with an Omega Plus instead of an IP. For the speed of this video, I'm going to tell you that this is virtually the exact same combo, except instead of using Conduction Warrior Linear Magnum plus minus for your fusion with Sigma minus, you're going to use the Beta that is summoned. And then later in your turn, instead of destroying a Gallant Granite, you would destroy Magnum or Linear Magnum plus minus, and then activate its effect and return it to your hand. And this way you have follow-up, plus now a Book of Moon, and all this does is replace the Naturia Beast on the end board if you decide that Naturia Beast is not optimal for this match. Let's say your hand is just Epsilon, 3 hand traps, and Valkyrion. Kind of a sad hand, but I'm going to show you how this can still provide an extremely powerful end board. You're going to normal summon Epsilon, the Magnet Warrior, and activate its effect. Now, you can activate its effect here because it changes its name, and that's the effect. You can optionally summon. You're going to send Omega Plus. Omega Plus is going to destroy Valkyrion in hand, a special summon. You're going to turn these into a Gallant Granite, detach Omega, search a Sigma Minus, activate Sigma Minus in hand, and then you're going to summon Plasma Magnum. Plasma Magnum is going to get you Magnet Bonding. Activate Magnet Bonding. You're going to search Conduction Warrior Linear Magnum plus minus. You're going to summon that by sending Sigma and Beta. You're then going to summon Beta. Now, here you can search anything. We haven't used Delta the Magnet Warrior, though you kind of often want to leave Delta in your deck if you're going to end Beta on the end board. So just search a second copy of Sigma minus. You're going to normal summon your Sigma minus by sending a Talisian to the graveyard. Sigma minus effect will then just send the Berserkion, so the last that you need for any kind of follow-up. You're then going to link off into an IP Mask Arena, leaving the beta on your field, and then you're going to summon Talisian from graveyard, and this is all just off of normal summoning Epsilon. Editor's note, just want to say that this combo works virtually the exact same whether you open any of the level 8s, whether it be Valkyrion, Berserkion, or Talisian. Sometimes you just open everything that you could ever want, but much like all weapons, they aren't effective unless you know how to use them properly, and I'm going to teach you how to play around Nib and effectively play around Droll at the same time. This is what I would call full combo. Before anyone calls this Magic Christmas Land real quick, keep in mind that every card in this opening hand is at 3 copies in the deck, and you do actually see hands like this, except for Valkyrion, which could just be replaced by one of the other 2 level 8s in the deck. To start this combo off, we're going to activate Sigma minus using our Valkyrion from hand. Keep in mind, in order to summon Empyreon, the level 8 in your hand does have to be Valkyrion or Berserkion. We're going to summon Plasma Magnum. We're going to search Magna Induction in this combo. We are then going to summon Conduction Warrior Linear Magnum plus minus. We're going to send Epsilon and Sigma plus to the graveyard. We're then going to summon Epsilon. Epsilon effect is going to send Omega plus, and then we're going to summon Sigma minus from our graveyard. Sigma minus is then going to send the other piece that we need for Berserkion, so not Talisian yet. We're going to send Berserkion. We're going to activate the Magnet Bonding hand using Valkyrion and Berserkion, shuffling them into the deck to make Empyrean Magnum on summon 5. We are then going to overlay to go into a Gallant Granite. Gallant Granite is then going to search us an Adamancipator Researcher, link away our Gallant Granite and Conduction Warrior just to make space. We will then have an IP. We will then activate our Plasma Magnum, sending Talisian to the graveyard for cost, normal summoning Beta. Beta is then going to search us a second copy of Sigma minus, and then we are going to activate Magnet Induction. We're going to special summon a second copy of Sigma plus from our deck. We're going to activate Adamancipator Researcher. We don't need to use Researcher's effect here. We're just going to use it as a tuner monster to go into Naturia Beast, summon Talisian from our graveyard into the middle zone here by banishing the 2 that we already have in our graveyard, and then we're going to use Omega Plus in our graveyard, popping the Sigma Plus on our field to special summon it in defense mode. I highly recommend studying this combo specifically, as it's about the extent of where this deck list can play to, and this end board is deceptively hard to break. And it's pretty much because of how you can play on your opponent's turn, as Magnet Warriors is a rather reactive deck, though it doesn't seem like it. From this point on in the video, everything here is going to be teaching you how to play around things, or what to do when people hand trap you in specific areas, which I am calling technical combos. Starting with how to play around Droll and Lockbird, which is probably the most wanted combo. In this scenario, I am saying that we opened a Delta the Magnet Warrior. You can use any additional Magnet Warrior in your hand here, but since this is a technical combo, I'm not going to resolve a full end board. I'm just going to show you why we are doing what we are doing. This is going to special summon Linear Magnum, and we're going to send Sigma Plus and Epsilon. We're going to summon Epsilon. Epsilon is then going to send Sigma Minus to summon Sigma Plus. We're going to overlay those into our Go 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 Goliath. We're going to then detach Sigma Plus, targeting Sigma Minus to add to hand. Now, we have effectively added a Sigma Minus from our deck to our hand without proccing a Droll. We'll activate Sigma Minus to go into our Plasma Magnum, search our Magnet Bonding. We're going to assume that they Droll us right here, and you can play as accordingly. You now have a warrior in hand to summon to send to Talisian. You can chain bonding to Droll, or you can save it. Again, just to save time in the video, this also works if you get Drolled, say, after activating a Magnet Bonding to search your level 7. You can do the exact same combo to just put a Sigma Minus in your hand, and then that way you can make a fusion monster, whether it be Flux Oxenfeld or your Conduction Warrior just to get an Earth Floodgate on, or if you have or if you need to normal summon or get a Talisian in your graveyard, you are able to play through Droll by doing the exact same play line right there. A lot of people think that Dimension Shifter is just going to cook this deck, and honestly, it really doesn't. But you do have to have a pretty alright starting hand in order to deal with Dimension Shifter, meaning you have to have Beta and either Magnet Induction or Magnet Bonding, plus at least one other rock monster in your hand. If you have this exact hand, you'll actually be able to make an Empyrean Magnum through Dimension Shifter, which is actually really interesting to me. So we'll start by normal summoning Beta. Beta is going to find Sigma minus. We're going to activate Sigma minus, and now, of course, in this scenario, we're using Valkyrion just because you don't ever want to see it in your hand, but in this case, it's actually pretty good. So we will use those to go into Plasma Magnum. Plasma Magnum is going to search us Induction. Induction will then summon a Sigma minus from our deck. Sigma minus effect will send the Berserkion to the graveyard. Magnet Induction, of course, will be banished here. And then we can activate Magnet Bonding, shuffling in Valkyrion and Berserkion to make an Empyrean Magnum, the Superconductive Battlebot. Now, of course, Magnet Bonding will be banished here, which is not really a problem, as we're not really able to recur it. And you could either link away Beta and go into IP, like with the Sigma minus, or you could just leave this as an Earth Floodgate with a Beta that can tag out into a bunch of other things, say a Sigma plus. While we're here, this also works under Dimensional Fissure as well, but just know that this is not going to be your outcome every single time you get shifted or fissured or anything. I mean, you might even get Retaliating C played against you when you activate Bonding Diffusion. Just keep in mind that you can still do a lot under this, but you do have to have the right cards in order to play it. There's times where you're only going to have Conduction Warrior as a starter, which you can't even summon under those conditions. So this one's going to be a little bit quicker, just because it's very redundant, and most of these use Sigma minus in your hand to fusion with Talisian to make your Plasma Magnum. But I'm just going to show you how to perform each of these combos with 4 different cards being Magnet Bonding, Epsilon, Beta, and Delta if you open them alongside your Talisian and nothing else. If you open Magnet Bonding, you're going to activate Magnet Bonding. You're going to search Conduction Warrior Linear Magnum plus minus. You're going to special summon that by sending Sigma plus and Beta to the graveyard. Special summon Beta, search Sigma minus in hand to fusion summon using Talisian. Delta and Epsilon are essentially the exact same combo here, and they are interchangeable. You're going to start by normal summoning Delta. Delta effect, you're going to send Omega plus. This is actually more insulated under Epsilon because you're able to pay a cost. You will activate Omega plus in the graveyard, destroy the Talisian in your hand to special summon, overlay these two for Gallant Granite, and continue your combo from here. Beta is easily your most straightforward. You're going to normal summon Beta, add Sigma minus to fusion. Let's say you've made your entire end board going first, and you need to know how to plan your opponent's turn, specifically why we're making the cards that we're making. Obviously, Naturia Beast is to stop spell cards, and our Empyrean Magnum is for Omni Negates. Obviously, we have an Earth Floodgate, but this deck is extremely reactive, and you need to know how to react, and when to react, and why to react. So, I'm going to show you a pretty simple way, or very streamlined way of playing on your opponent's turn. Oftentimes your opponent is going to start their turn by normal summoning something, and most of the time this card is going to have an effect. Keep in mind that this is an Earth monster when they activate it because of Plasma Magnum, so you can chain Omega Plus to immediately flip that monster face down. Now you do have to use a little bit of discretion here. If it's a Malice monster, then you may want to flip that face down because they can't link with it, but if it's a Dracotail Lucaeus, this is going to result in pretty much nothing actually happening. One of the main points of doing this early is because it frees up one space for you to be able to tribute your Talisian if you absolutely have to. Say they're trying to negate it and you just need to have the 2 monsters on the board for your follow-up plays, but Omega Plus is usually what I tend to swing first. Now that they have a face-down monster, they're probably going to have another way to summon another monster. This is usually the time when you're going to want to use your Talisian, and because their monster is an Earth monster, you will be taking control of that monster. If your opponent then manages to put another monster on the board, say a monster that doesn't have an immediate effect, This is where I would chain IP Masquerena using the monster that you have, and at your discretion, any of the monsters on your board that is not Tilicion, and your IP Masquerena plus their monster to make an Underworld Goddess of the Closed World. Now from here, you're still going to have your Omni Negate and the Tilicion to blink out into the 2 Sigma monsters. Now if you have your Earth Floodgate, this is a battle trick, and if you decide to keep Naturia Beast for any reason, you at least just have 2 more monsters here. But they're going to be pretty important for your follow-up on your next turn, because you will be able to send Sigma Plus to your graveyard from your field instead of from your deck, so you're not expending resources to do so. And yeah, you pretty much just play through it from there. Also keep in mind that Underworld Goddess is going to negate everything on your opponent's board, and it's also going to stop anything that is special summoning a monster from the graveyard. I believe it's monster effect only. So you open 4 hand traps and a Beta the Electromagnet Warrior going first. You normal summon Beta, and Beta gets hit with an effect failure. What do? To finish your turn after normal summoning Beta that got negated, we're going to set any trap cards like Infinite Impermanence. If you're holding Ash Blossom, you can set Dominus Purge, and then you're just going to move to your end phase. During your opponent's turn and at your discretion, you will tribute Beta and summon an Epsilon from your deck. Epsilon is going to send Sigma Minus to the graveyard for cost, and then you're going to summon Beta again. Beta is then going to search you a copy of Sigma Minus, and then you can tribute your Beta again because it's not once per turn. You're going to summon Delta, the Magnet Warrior, and Delta effect is going to send Sigma Plus. Sigma Plus is then going to special summon the Sigma Minus. Sigma Minus is then going to Foolish your Tilicion from deck to graveyard, and now you have effectively guarded during the battle phase, if that's when you had to do this, or during your opponent's end phase if your hand traps are enough to stop them, and you have a ridiculous OTK follow-up from here. Arguably one of the toughest parts of Yu-Gi-Oh! Is how to use your side deck. I will be listing a small list here of what I have been playing at my locals and bigger events, and just when I've put cards in, how I've put them in, what I took out, and we'll just go from there, starting with going second. In order to decide for going second, we need to kind of establish what some of our going first cards in the main board are. Now usually when I'm going second, I'm taking 2 of the Adamancipator Researchers out, just to leave 1 in the deck, so I can search it just in case, but Synchro Monsters going second normally don't matter as much as we're just trying to OTK our opponent. I would usually say Crossout Designator is a going first card. Magnet Induction is not necessary going second every single time. 1 Dominus Purge, though it is good, you can find yourself in very awkward situations where you would much rather have that as an end board piece to keep in your hand. And sometimes Ash Blossom is not good against certain decks. If you're going second, I think Impermanence, like Infinite Impermanence, is a much better board breaker than people give it credit for, so I usually keep those in. Sometimes Pot of Prosperity comes out as a going first card as well. Now, normally when you're going second, you're going to immediately put in 3 evenly matched, and then everything else is subjective and depends on what you're playing against. So Goes and Match and Rivalry are going first cards. We don't side those in ever going second. Ghost Bell and Haunted Mansion is exceptionally powerful right now, and that is probably your blind sideboard. Say you put up an entire board and your opponent scoops without you ever knowing what is in their deck at all, is going to be the 3 evenly matched and 3 Ghost Bell for 2 Researcher, Crossout Designator, Induction, 1 Dominus Purge, and Pot of Prosperity is what I would say is your blind second. However, if you're going against, say, Draco Tail, I would say Retaliating Seas are incredible against them. If you find yourself against Yummy, a lot of the versions of Yummy, Droll and Lockbird does actually hurt certain versions of Yummy. Now, if you find yourself against White Forest, Droll and Lockbird is 100% going in no matter what, and everything else is at discretion there. I would actually say put in 2 Perulias and cut 1 Fuelos. That way you're playing 4 Mulch Armies in the main deck, both of which hit White Forest. But that is pretty much how I would say you're going to sideboard going second. Going first is much simpler. You are usually just going to put in both Goes and Match and Rivalry, though if neither of them actually affect your opponent, then don't put them in. Keep in mind, if you're Earth Floodgating your opponent, Goes and Match can really do some damage on them. Rivalry is tough if you go against another deck that's all the same types. But yeah, that's kind of an at discretion thing. Now, when we're talking about cards to take out, I usually take out 1 Infinite Impermanence, all 3 Mulcharmy Fuloses, and something at discretion, either an Ash Blossom or, say, a second Imperm if I feel that that's the case. But usually I'm siding in about 5 cards, whether it be the 2 Floodgates plus 3 Ghost Bells, or one of the Floodgates, 2 Ghost Bells, and 2 Drolls, just depending on who the matchup is. The best, I think the easiest immediate going first sideboard is both of your Floodgates plus your 3 Ghost Bells, and then you just cut 1 Imperm, the 3 Fuas, and then I would usually cut 1 Ash Blossom from going first, just because you're taking out non-engine for non-engine, and then that way you aren't really messing up your ratios that much. Hey guys, this video actually took me a couple days to make, which is why you're seeing me wear different clothes from the intro. If you liked this video, please subscribe. I'm honestly sorry, I feel a little tired right now. There's a lot of editing, and just keep in mind that this video is mainly to get you started with the more complex combos of Magnet Warriors, to get your brain working, because I can't tell you exactly how to play, especially a reactionary deck. But I can show you some pretty interesting things that you may not have known, like why I play certain cards and the reasons behind my ratios and things like that. And this is also just for pure Magnet Warriors. I'm going to be doing one for Ryziel and Fiendsmith and Mitsurugi and another secret one in the future that I'm not going to disclose right now. But I do really love the Magnet Warriors. I hope that most of the people watching this video do as well, especially if you watch this all the way through. But yeah, I've been Danosaur, and I'll see you next time.